Welcome to Nifty 50 Photographers. Well, it's a cloudy day and probably one of my default landscape photos on a cloudy day. I'm going to try and take a picture of a waterfall or some water. So I've come down to the River Kent. We've got a nice bridge behind us to help with the framing, and I'm going to tell you how to compose your waterfall shots. Now let's talk about the first thing, and that's camera settings. So for camera settings, most of the time you want to have that sort of dreamy water effect, because that's how you're icing. It's seeing the water continuously flowing by. So for that, you're going to need a long shutter speed, something like 1 or 2 seconds. Play around with it, try at 2 seconds, might need to go a bit longer or a bit shorter. So you could set your camera in shutter priority mode and see what happens. Now, the problem you might get, there might be too much light and it can't expose it properly. So you could reduce your ISO. If you've got the option, take your ISO as low as possible. If that doesn't work, you're going to need an ND filter. Now, I normally use something like a 6-stop ND filter, and that'll give me what I want. The other thing you're going to need is a tripod. Sorry, but you're going to have to lug that out there. Now, the big thing about composition is trying to get as low to the water as possible, because that'll make your photo more interesting, get that foreground interest. The other thing you want to do is fill the frame. And don't forget about all your other compositional rules. So here in my shot, I'm going to use a frame within a frame. I'm going to use the arch of the bridge to be part of the framing. We've got some natural leading lines with the side of the riverbank and these limestone pavements either side, so I can use them to lead us into the photo. Also got a nice sweeping curve to the river, so I can use that S-curve to help with my composition. And I'm looking up the river and I can see 1 or 2 other little details that might help the composition. There's another little waterfall over on the left, which will give me a nice bright point to drag the viewer's eye through the composition. So I'm going to get it set up. I'm going to put on my ND filter. I'm going to use a 24-70 lens. I'm going to start with an exposure time of 2 seconds, and we'll see how that goes. Set my camera very low to the water. Can help your composition. Too deep to wade out into the middle of the stream. And one of the things you need to be careful of is actually can induce some camera shake, because the movement of the water will shake the tripod. So it doesn't always work. It's better to play safe and be on dry land. If you've got a really heavy tripod, you can get away with it. Now I've set my settings, 2 seconds, f14, ISO 100. I've gone for a landscape format because the framing of the bridge is going to help that, and I'll show you that in just a second. Well, let me summarize what I've done there. So I just used the polarizing filter in the end. I didn't need the ND stop filter because it's quite a gloomy day. Set my exposure between 1 and 2 seconds. I think I took some at 2 and some at 1.6. Had an f-stop around 13 or 14 because I wanted a nice depth of field. And I think it's brought me some pleasing results. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please do give it a like. And if you'd like to see some more of me teaching you how to use your camera, then subscribe to the channel. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.